Hey guys, and welcome to Smart Women Read Romance, a book review podcast where we fangirl over all things romance. I'm Jessen.
And I'm Juliet.
Today we'll be reviewing Turin by Carian Cole, and it's a spinoff from her Ashes and Ember series. I love it. I think she recently actually renamed this All Torn Up. It used to be called the Devil's Wool series, but now it's rebranded as the All Torn Up series. But before we dive in, just, you know the drill. We want to make sure you subscribe to our podcast. That way you don't miss an episode. So go hit that subscribe button and rate and review us because that helps other people discover us. Juliet and I love getting feedback from our listeners, so follow us on our social media pages at SWReadRom. If you're looking for some extras, join our Patreon for access to exclusive giveaways, a look behind the scenes of our episodes, and exclusive content, including monthly videos featuring Q&As and some fun games. Special shout out to Michelle, our newest patron. Hey, Michelle. We're so thankful for all of our patrons for supporting the podcast. All right, it's time for some chit-chat with Juliet and Jessen.
Yeah.
First off, I want to say that Juliet's Whole30 diet is making her crank. She told me today that she would cut a bitch for a cookie. And I'm not lying. Like, I think I had the voice message for proof.
I think I said a warm chocolate chip cookie with
she was
milk.
very explicit. She was like, I want a warm chocolate chip cookie fresh out the oven.
But you want to know
ice
why?
Cold milk.
You know why I suddenly got vicious? Because Jessen's sending me messages while she's chomping on a cookie. It's like, oh, this is so good. I'm just like, girl.
I did not say that.
It was implied in the way you were chewing, okay? I could hear it.
I apologize. I was like, I'm being such a bad friend right now. I'm like, I'm chomping on this cookie.
Yeah, I was like, you didn't have to tell me. You could have said you were eating a carrot. That would have made me feel better.
Yeah, I'm eating a carrot. Sure.
I'm dying over here. No sugar.
I know. Poor thing. I feel so bad for you.
2.5 weeks without wine. Do you have any idea what that does to me?
Nope, because Jessen doesn't do that. Okay, so I wanted to talk about this because we do have an interesting backstory with Philippa Gregory books.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever seen any of the series that Starz has done? The White Queen and the White Princess. Did you watch those?
I watched The White Queen.
The White Queen was so much better than The White Princess, just in my opinion. It was great. I actually always rewatch it. Well, they're going to come out with The Spanish Princess, which focuses on Catherine of Aragon.
I saw the preview.
Yes, and I'm
amazing.
Extremely excited. First of all, I got a little like blinders on me, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's so pretty. Where do I know Catherine of Aragon from? Like, who's this actress? And then I realized she's Ramsay Bolton's mistress.
No.
The crazy one.
Miranda?
Yes, Miranda. Oh, but I'm going to have to, just like be like, you're not Miranda.
I know.
You're Catherine.
I know.
But anyway, it looks really good. And I really want to watch it. And I think this makes me excited. And I don't know if they're able to do this because I'm not very familiar with like film rights or anything. But I really want Starz to adapt The Other Boleyn Girl because
that is my favorite.
It is my
Gregory
favorite
book.
And that's why I want to talk about it because we have a history with The Other Boleyn Girl. Well, the reason why I want them to do it because I don't know how long ago they did this, but they did a movie and they botched it so bad
because was bad.
The title is called The Other Boleyn Girl. We're supposed to be focusing on Mary Boleyn, and they made the movie about Anne. I'm like, look, we have thousands of movies dedicated to Anne Boleyn.
Yeah.
The whole point of this book is that we're in Mary's point of view, and we actually follow her.
Yeah.
And she has so much more story away from King Henry. And I'm like, they did none of that. And I'm like, why did you even adapt this book? Why?
Yeah, I remember being very disappointed. Very, very disappointed.
So that's why I want I want Starz to adapt The Other Boleyn Girl because I remember there was a library sale and Juliet took me there and I got like a bunch of books. And I discovered a lot of authors actually over there. I discovered 2 Philippa Gregory books because you were like, oh, these are amazing. And so I picked up The Other Boleyn Girl and it is a huge ass book. And I was like, I'm going to kill this book. And I read it and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like I would honestly love to do a podcast on The Other Boleyn Girl.
The Other Boleyn Girl. My 2 favorites is that one and The Queen's Fool.
The Queen's Fool is good
really,
too.
Yeah, they redo everything in Hollywood. Can they redo some of the flops?
This one.
Like
redo
that.
this one and cast no names. I love how they're casting pretty much no names
It's
in the roles.
much better.
I mean, it's just, well, I say no names and then I think about the White Queen and they had Max Irons in it. And his father's Jeremy Irons. I guess he's like a big name by association because he hasn't really done too much, but still, he was hot.
But I love when they do that.
Edward.
Like I loved that about Game of Thrones.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Like we didn't know these actors.
Which is why I'm a little, I mean, I guess we can save this, but I'm kind of upset about them casting like Naomi Watts in the spinoff series. I'm like, no, I don't want a big name. I don't want that in there.
I think that may be a mistake. We'll see.
Enough about us. Let's get into this taboo romance.
Okay, we are doing Torn by Carian Cole tonight, guys. Super exciting. This is a dual POV book with flashbacks at the beginning of each chapter that really enhances the emotional heft of the character's history without being overbearing. A bit of a taboo element is present since these characters not only have an age gap, a big one, but our hero is the best friend of the heroine's father. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Always been treated as an honorary uncle to the heroine until one day that relationship starts to change. Carian Cole really takes care with the balance of emotional and physical relationship between the characters.
Before you dismiss this book as just another niche taboo romance that only weirdos are going to want to read, and you're just like, this is only relying on like shock value to capture the audience's attention, let me assure you that I have read plenty of my father's best friend romances, and this one does not read like a dirty erotic novel with little emotional foundation for the character's relationship. It's not just like, oh my God, I see this like super hot young girl who I've never noticed before and she's so grown up and now I want her. It's not that. I promise you.
Yeah.
I would not recommend a book like I said, like we said in our trailer for this podcast, we do not review books that we would not recommend to our listeners ever. It has to be a good book. So both characters actually struggle with their feelings and they care very much about the impact it will have on others, which makes this such a realistic read. And I'm like, I recommend this book all the time.
I completely agree with you. So Jessen primed me for this book by getting me invested in the Ashes and Embers series first. That's the 4 books that come before this one. They are great rock star romances, especially my favorites. I mean, well, I loved Storm and I loved Lucas, but Talon was my super fave.
Yeah, I think we might do a podcast on Talon.
I would love to do one on Talon
because I like the trope. The trope's really cool.
It's a unique
situation.
Yes.
Yeah. I think we'll do Talons. Talons is great. He's my second favorite couple besides Kenzie and Toren. So, yep. Juliet did skip Vandal's book though, because I warned her that there was some very heavy issues explored in it. And I knew she wouldn't want to read it.
Yeah.
Because I know her taste. But, I did this all to get her really ready for Torn. And the reason why I'm like, yeah, go read these books first is because you know me, I have to read books in order. And I'm like, look, go read about these characters first. So, yeah, I love Torn. To me, it's taboo, quote unquote, done right, in my opinion. If there was ever a taboo romance to read, it's this one because it's done right. The author really cares about the characters and you really feel like they're soulmates. So I just like it. So let's talk about our main characters. Before we get into the spoiler section, we have Kenzie Valentine. Fame runs in Kenzie's family. Her parents and uncles are rock stars. Her grandfather was also a rock legend, and her grandmother is a successful erotic romance writer. But Kenzie's an old soul who values family and close friendships. In a world where women can dream big, Kenzie just wants a simple life with a family of her own. Then there's Turin Grace, who I had to include as an honorary book boyfriend in our episode. He is a rugged, tattooed, motorcycle riding, animal rescuing hottie and the best friend of Asher Valentine. He's always been treated like a part of the Valentine family and has been there to watch Kenzie grow up into this beautiful, caring woman who shares his love of animals.
Yes. And if I can just add, if Jessen during our book boyfriend episode had allowed 100 of our honorable mentions, he would have been on my list too.
We're going to enter into our spoiler section now because I cannot wait. And Juliet has already called dibs on the first Showdown slot.
I'm ready.
So we're ready. Entering the spoiler section. If you have not read
Last
Torn,
warning.
Please go read this book and then come back and come chat with us. All right, guys, we are officially in the spoiler section, and we're going to start off with our showdown. Juliette wants to go first.
That's right,
She insisted
baby.
on going first.
Look out, everybody.
She does not want me to take her scene.
I don't want her to steal mine. I don't want to have to use a backup. So here's my problem. Tonight when I was thinking about the showdown, the first thing that came to mind is this typical shit I do every time. And I'm like,
Typical shit.
I mean, the same kind of scene. It's like the first kiss scene, you know? And I was like, no fucking way. You're not putting me in a box. I'm busting out and I'm going to do something totally different.
Bust out. Okay, I might have to have a backup. She might be encroaching on my territory.
So, okay. My showdown scene is not even between Kenzie and Tor. It is between Tor and Ash.
Oh, I love this. I'm digging this.
Okay.
Do it.
It is the scene, and my heart's pounding gazillion times a minute when Ash figures out Tor and Kenzie are together with his 18-year-old daughter.
Asher coming in.
Asher, yes.
And going freaking out.
When Asher comes to the door, he beats the shit out of him. In this scene, this is why this is one of my favorite scenes. I don't know what I expected to happen. I don't know what I expected Tor to do, like to defend himself or not or whatever. He let Asher get in quite a few licks. But then as Ash is just dumping shit, like she's a fucking kid, she's my kid, you know, all the stuff that you'd expect. He says, I love her. She loves me. I'm going to marry her someday when she's ready. I know you're pissed, man. I would be too, and I'm really fucking sorry. But maybe try to think about the fact that you picked me to care for her and love for her. And I did just that. Our feelings grew with us, and nothing and no one can change that. Not even you. I will never, ever hurt her. And so I just thought, I know.
It's making me so emotional just hearing it.
Just the fact that he had the balls to just lay it all out there. Like, dude, you have no idea. This is my dream woman, and I'm going to marry her. And that's all there is to it.
And
you know?
I like the combination of how he's apologetic because he does not want to hurt his friend. Like throughout the whole novel, he's like, I don't want to hurt Ash. I don't want to hurt Ash. Yeah. And he understands where he's coming from. But he also, in the scene, Asher's like, you'll never fucking see her again. And he's like, no. He's like, I'm going to see her again. Oh, yeah. You can't stop me.
He's like, it's not,
like,
nothing, that's not
your
gonna
choice
happen.
now.
Yeah.
Like, I would love for you to be okay with this.
Even like with all the threats Asher does and he says some horrible things out of anger. Oh, yeah. You know, which I totally understand.
I forgive him for saying all of that.
I do too.
Because if I was a parent and that happened to me, there's a lot of things that are said in anger.
Yes.
And you have to be forgiving in those moments.
I agree.
But yeah, I mean.
But I just love that Tor just handled it and he's like, okay, so this is the deal. I'm in love with her and I'm going to marry her and that's it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like this isn't just fucking around.
Yeah. He owned up to all of his feelings, you know, and I loved it. I thought it was beautiful.
It was beautiful. I agree. That is a great showdown. So
okay, where's yours, yeah?
Mine. Okay, so this is in the beginning of the book. Or toward the beginning of the book. And this is the turning point. This is a turning point where lines are kind of blurred.
Right.
Kenzie has just come home from prom. She had a douchebag date and Tor picked her up.
Damn, this is a good one too.
It is a good one. But there's so many good scenes in here though to pick from. It's serious. So she comes back to Tor's house because she thinks about all the people that she can call. She doesn't want her dad to worry about her, that she's not having the experience that he's so excited for her to have at prom. So, because she does have a great relationship with her dad. It's not like she would be scared to call him. She just doesn't want him to worry about her. And she thinks about all the other people that she can call. And then she's like, you know what, Tor, he won't even ask questions. He won't like judge and he won't like get on my case. Let me just call him. So he picks her up, brings her back to his house because she's like, I don't want my dad to know. So I'm just going to stay over here. And she's kind of, lamenting. She tells Toren every thing that happened. And he's pissed off on her behalf that this guy was acting like such a little douche canoe. I hate him so much. Horrible. Jessen is horrible. And she says, it's so sad. It was my senior prom and I didn't even get to dance at it. Like, that sucks. And Tor's like, that's fine. We'll dance here. It's fine. Puts on some music and just dances with her. And they're just talking normally. Everything's normal. It's just a normal dance until it's not. until it's like their proximity. Kenzie just says something changes and something I like just felt different near him. And I was noticing my position, my body near him. And they like make the eye connection. And she was like, oh my God, suddenly I just want him to kiss me and I can see it in his eyes. And then he pulls back and like the moment breaks. And then Kenzie goes up into her room and she's just like, oh my God, now I'm thinking about him in a new way. And it's just like, it's the eye-opening scene.
It is that scene. I love that scene.
Something they probably done before, just like dancing together.
They have. He even mentioned it. They even like joke about how they used to dance together when she was little.
Exactly. And this is just, it's the turning point. And this is whenever Toren's just like, this is not the same Kenzie that I'm always used to. And I just feel like this is whenever my excitement starts to ramp up because I'm like, and it's not too much. It's not too much.
No,
like,
it's not.
All of a sudden, like, damn, she's fine. It's not. It's like actual connection.
The chemistry is different.
It's off the fucking charts.
And that's a really I love that scene.
So that's my favorite scene.
All right. Okay. That one's really good too.
Yeah.
I'll admit.
It is good. All right. So before we get into the breakdown, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the taboo element of the story. And so preparing Juliet for this story, I talked about the taboo element. I'm like, look, I just want to let you know there's a big age gap. I'm like it's pretty big. Well, she starts off in the book as 17 and then she turns 18 and he is 32. So there is a significant age gap. And I was like, I'm kind of worried because, Juliet, for me, I'm just like, I first of all like age gaps because I'm also attracted to older men. I've never dated someone that far away from me in age. But I was like, okay, in Juliet's position, she has a daughter who's around Kenzie's age.
She is 17.
Yes. And so I was like, I feel like Juliet might be like, what the fuck are you recommending to me?
I know.
And just like I said, like in the beginning of this podcast, please don't just judge this book and be like, oh, I'm going to fucking hate it because they're just like weird uncle type thing. Yeah. And it's like, there's no actual familial relationship. I just want to ask you as a person, like how did you feel going into it? Did you ever feel like kind of grossed out at any point? Did you go in thinking because I prepared you for it, or were you just along for the ride? Okay, and when did it like click for you that this is like, oh yeah, this is a good story?
Okay. So first of all, you and I had a discussion about the age gaps before. We were having like a couple of days. And because I have a 17-year-old who acts like a 17-year-old, I could not even imagine her with like a late 30s guy. My husband would literally, his mind would explode and like there'd be gray matter on the ceiling. Oh, yeah. Okay. But you and I had many discussions about it. And then when we started talking about it, I said, well, if she has an old soul, because there's a very difference between young girls who not grow up fast, but they're mature.
Yeah, have had life experiences or look through life in a different lens, not through a teenage.
Yeah, I started to think about some of the students I'd had who spoke much more like an adult because they'd had lives that they'd grown up faster. Do you know what I mean? And so that's when I said, well, if Kenzie is that kind of person who has grown up, being kind of old before her time, then it will feel different. And as soon as I got into the story, I felt that way.
Right.
Yeah. I immediately related to Kenzie, even as a young, innocent girl.
She didn't read as like an immature teenager at all.
Yeah. Snapchatting and shit like that all day long.
No, it wasn't like crazy.
You know what I mean? Who's just like in her phone 24/7, that kind of thing.
Also, this is super random, but I want to thank Carian Cole for whenever she inserts text messages between the characters that they type in complete sentences with punctuation and they do not abbreviate you.
Yeah, she wasn't using
you
to you or I'm like, ARE to a letter R.
Yeah, I'm like, no. Listen, even I've read books about like adults like recently that text like that. I'm like, oh my God. It bugs me so much. I'm a fool. Yeah. I never text like that. Okay, anyway. So, all right, cool. Let's start with the breakdown. So right in the beginning of the book, we are introduced to Kenzie and we get a little family history. The Ashes and Embers series, all the bandmates and Kenzie's dad is the lead singer of the band Ashes and Embers. And the co-founder of the band, along with his wife and Turin, Grace, our hero. So Tor is an honorary uncle to Kenzie and has always been there for her, like since the day that she was born. But Kenzie is an old soul, like Juliet mentioned, and she's grown up with famous family. This is Kenzie describing life growing up in that type of, lifestyle with a rock star and like on the road with them. She says, they exposed me to things in life way before I could truly understand them, but in time it all caught up and sunk in, and I think that made me older and wiser, earlier than I should be, which has made me feel out of step with everyone else my age.
I think this is very necessary for this kind of
Absolutely.
Kind of
so
romance.
she feels like she doesn't connect with many people her age in the first place.
Yes.
And she does like hanging out with, like, her father always has.
He has these like barbecues and grills or whatever.
He's a very social being.
Yes.
He always likes to have people around.
Right. So all the adults come hang out and she feels completely comfortable there, more so than with teenagers.
Party. She doesn't want to. Actually, in the beginning, she turns down a party.
Yeah, a high school party to hang out with her dad and his friends.
Exactly. So here we go. Kenzie, you get her right off the back. You get her number. So Ash is a little bit protective of Kenzie, not like overbearing crazy at all. You don't get that impression, but she thinks that it has a lot to do with him losing, quote unquote, his wife. So we're going to just like talk about what happened to Ember right off the bat, because this was driving Juliet crazy while she was reading the book. She was like,
it was so
what
distracting.
Happened?
It's like, stop it. Just tell me.
Yeah. Okay. So what happened to Kenzie's mom, Ember, is that she had an accident. She actually fell off of a cliff and she has brain damage, and she's been in a coma since Kenzie was like 14, I believe. So for about 3 years. Yeah. Asher's really distracted because he has hope that she's going to come out of the coma. And Kenzie's really kind of been his like emotional support, kind of taking on the parental role sometimes whenever Asher is like up in his feelings because something happened with Kenzie, or like they had a lot of hope and then that hope's gone. So I feel like that also escalated her growth as well, because she kind of had to like pull herself together, put aside her emotions about losing her mom and really support her dad, because they were like soulmates. And I think that that's really important to the story as well.
Yeah.
But we just wanted to get that out the way. Ember is not dead. She's in a coma. So all the gone talk or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's driving me nuts.
So Tor and Kenzie bond over not really being interested in the same things as their love interests, or the current love interest that they have in the beginning of the book. So Jessen, the douche canoe that takes Kenzie to prom, he's shallow and a typical high school teen. And Lisa, the girl that Tor's kind of seeing, is a bitch whose only interest in Tor is physical, which really pisses me off. I'm like, God.
She only goes to him.
Like, this is such a great guy, and all you can do is just like worry about fucking him.
I know.
It's really
and
annoying.
I hate that he really feels like that's all women want from him.
I think that this is why I like Tor so much.
Yes.
So Tor is unlucky in love. He has a long on-again, off-again relationship with Sydney, who I absolutely hate.
Loathe.
She is Ember, Kenzie's mother's best friend, but has been hitting on Asher, Kenzie's dad, since Ember's accident.
Yes. And everybody notices.
Yeah. She's like blatant about it. She even told Toren about it,
it's unreal.
Which is, I hate her so much. But he says he's tired of being everyone's second choice. And that just is like dagger to the heart. I'm like, you're right. You should be someone's first choice.
Absolutely.
Kenzie. So Kenzie, this kind of really describes Kenzie. I love her. Really, I love the way she looks at the world. She says, I live in a deep, dark, perplexing sea of people. Some might be starfish and some might be sharks. I just bob along on my little raft, watching and learning.
I love that quote.
Me
so
too.
Much.
It's such a great one. I love Kenzie as a character, though.
Yeah, I do too. I really
great.
fell in love with Kenzie right off the bat. So Kenzie has a tendency to take things from Tor like all the time. She's always just taking something
I really like
from him.
This. It's like a little collector.
Yeah, she's just like a treasure chest. Like she has sweatshirts and hair ties and stuff because he has long hair. She's always collecting. And to me, this is sort of a sign. She's like, she loves him. She loves this guy. So she's always like collecting things and keeping them.
She's like taking the pieces that she's allowed to take.
Right. They have a really close bond, and Kenzie feels like she can talk to him about anything, including her lack of real feelings for a guy who other girls would kill to date. This dude Jason.
Yeah, she's
you
like,
know?
look, we're making out. He's like touching me, and I'm just like, feels
not so
really
much.
weird. And
Yeah.
like, I'm not into it at all. And I kind of want it to stop because,
Yeah.
but I don't want to be the person that's just like leading someone on and being like, never mind.
Exactly. So she's very open about her non-relationship,
her guy
I guess.
troubles.
Her guy troubles.
She asked Tor, hey, is this normal?
Yeah.
And he's like, you have plenty of time and
don't rush it.
You will feel it with somebody someday.
Exactly.
It does not mean you're broken just because you don't feel it with this guy.
Right.
That's A-okay. Don't listen to your friend Chloe that just says sleep with him.
Yeah, Chloe's like, you have to hurry and, lose your V card before graduation, is like required or something.
You can go into college with your V card.
Yes,
it's fine.
it's
you will
perfectly
survive.
okay.
I did. I'm fine.
Yes, you're a perfectly normal person.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Tor was also, and this was something that really broke my heart. He's co-founder of the band with Ash. It was with Ash, Ember, and him.
Yeah, they were the three
They were the three founding people
members,
of the band, members of the band. But he had to drop out right when they made it big, or right before, to assume responsibility for his family and their business because his father died.
Yeah.
So he had to step up back home and it was like literally like 2 months before everything. So he runs the motorcycle shop and heads the Devil's Wolves MC and pet rescue. Just so adorable.
He's so adorable. God, a man who just cares about animals. I'm down for it.
I know. And
Means
I love
he's very empathetic.
how Carian Cole describes some of these rescues. It's just so awesome.
I like that they're a big part of this book.
Mm-hmm. So he's trying to work on a relationship with Lisa. Lisa is
the one who just wants him for his bod.
Yeah, she's looking at him as just like a piece of meat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very obvious.
Yeah.
He wants to spend some time with her. He's like, let me try this. Let me see if this would work between us. And he says, you want to come with me to get some of the traps? Because they have traps set out in the woods for these little wandering stray dogs. She says, trek in the woods with piles of meat? Like, no.
No, but you can come to my house like after. Make sure you shower. Oh God, it pissed me off.
He just wants someone who is interested in his world and his life, and he can't find anybody who wants to share his life with him. And another good one is, here I am asking her to help me to do something that's a huge part of my life, something I built out of nothing, and is evidence of the care and giving she claims I don't have in me. And now she doesn't want it.
Yeah.
So he's like just rejected. The only thing he's good for, according to Lisa and Sydney, is a good fuck. You know?
Pretty much. Because he looks like a good fuck.
Yeah, because he's hot and apparently he's good in bed. And so that's all they want.
Yeah.
Okay. Kenzie, though, has always been very involved with Tor's animal rescue. And you can tell this has been for a while because she already knows how to do the traps and like all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, so since Lisa's like, I'm not coming, he's like, that's fine. Kenzie's coming.
Yeah. She doesn't mind getting dirty. She's
No,
like,
she doesn't care.
Yeah, I'd love to do it, and she loves animals. So there you go. And so we discover they have this penny wishing tradition.
I love
early
this.
on.
This is so adorable. This is the small moments that I like for authors to incorporate to make
things very
special and real and not just about physical.
Right.
Like this is something that's very special to them. And it's so simple. They just like wishing on pennies together and it's just their thing.
So she's about to graduate high school, but tells Tor that she wished for direction in her life with her penny recently. She wants to do calligraphy, modeling, and writing. She wants to do like everything.
Yeah, and he's like, you can do everything. Who says you have to pick one thing? You can do all of that if you would like.
She says, you want to know what I really, really, really want? And she explains that she wants a house and a family, to take care of. She asked him, is this 250s to want to get married and have kids? And of course, he's in full support of it. You know?
And he says that it sounds just like her mom, Ember.
Yeah.
That she, in recent years before she actually had her accident, she was saying how she wants to get away from band life and just have like a simple life with Asher and with Kenzie and possibly have another baby. Like she was ready to give that all up.
Right.
And so I like that little comparison too, because we don't really get to meet Ember and we don't get to see what she really like what Kenzie, what piece of Ember Kenzie has, but Tor's there to say, hey, this sounds like your mom, I really like that.
That was nice.
All right, so now we are at Kenzie's prom night, which doesn't end well. It does not end well. It does not go how she planned, and this douchebag is trying to pressure her into sex, and she says no, like the smart girl that she is, and she calls Tor to come pick her up. So she's sad that she didn't even get to dance at her prom.
Yeah, because her date like runs off with his other friend to get stoned.
Weed and just not even there.
Yeah, they left them the entire part of the dance.
It was so stupid. I hate them.
Anyway.
But anyway, so this is my showdown scene, and sparks are starting to fly. And this is the quote about the moment. His eyes open and look into mine, and somehow the space between us is diminished. Our bodies leaning into each other, my breast against his chest. My gaze drifts to his lips, so close to mine, but not nearly close enough. Oh God, I want him to kiss me. As if he can read my mind, he quickly pulls away from me, clearing his throat as he walks across the room to turn off the music.
Poor Tor.
Oh God, he's like, what the fuck is happening?
He's like, what just happened? Stop.
So she goes into her room at Tor's house, and she's just stunned by her shifting feelings. And she says that the line between Tor and her is somehow somewhat unique, but that it crisscrosses between family and friend, because it really does. Like, she doesn't really treat him like family. She treats him more as a friend in the way that she can just tell him like anything. But she says that just now it blurred into something that she can't even describe, and she's not sure where the line is anymore, even if she wants one at all.
No line.
Kenzie is quite a bit quicker to the party than Tor is. Yeah. Tor is very much more resistant.
And what the hell is happening here?
Yeah.
Poor Tor.
So one of the things that I really like about the story is that the romance is not rushed. And both of the main characters frequently try to talk themselves off the ledge and out of the idea that they could have real feelings for each other. They're very conscious about how a relationship would affect the people in their lives and, you know, outside perception of how they've known each other their whole lives.
Right.
And Tor's really been kind of another kind of caregiver for Kenzie. And so I really think that it's important that we actually experience real thoughts. Like whenever you're in Tor's head and he's thinking like, oh shit, like I can't do this. This is so wrong and stuff like that. It's very real. I don't want him to just be like, oh, now I'm attracted to her. And that's all I think about is how attracted I am to her.
Right. How hot she is or whatever.
Right. All his thoughts that he's having, I'm like, if I was in that situation, those would be the thoughts too.
This is wrong. This can't happen.
I'd be going around in circles.
You're my dad's best friend. Like, no, it's just, you know.
So I really think that she did an extremely good job of that.
Yeah, I agree.
So though they can make a long list of why they shouldn't want each other, they can't help but toe the line. They want to, you know, they can't help it. They're drawn to each other. They go back to that line.
Yeah.
Kenzie, whenever Tor says that he wants a little something of Kenzie. Because Kenzie's always taking his stuff.
So
and
he's
like,
flirting a little bit.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to take something back because you always take my stuff. He's like, I actually want that beanie, the one with the, and she's like, it has a pink heart on it. And he's like, you don't think I can rock a pink heart?
He's so
like,
cute.
yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
So, yeah, whenever Kenzie actually gives it to him at the next bonfire that her dad has, he was like, well, why'd you hesitate whenever I asked how to look? And Kenzie's like, because I was about to say you look hot as fucking hell. Like that was her first response. And she says it out loud. And Tor's kind of like, like, I didn't expect that.
I know. It's so nice.
Yeah, and so they're having a moment as well, and whenever they're just sitting and conversing, and Kenzie kind of says, well, do you hang out with me only because you feel like this is like an obligation that my parents have set out for you? And he tells her that he wishes that she would never doubt him again. He tells her, you're just where I always wanted to be. And she actually wants him to elaborate on it, but he's just like, don't, just make your wish. And so he knows that he kind of like said something that he probably shouldn't have said, doesn't want to talk about it. Well, Kenzie's response is quite a bit more forward. She says, I wish you weren't who you are. And they both kind of laugh at it awkwardly, but look, it's towing that line. They keep going back to it. They keep saying things.
It's in the air. They both know it's there, but it's like they're dancing around it.
Yeah, it's like,
you know,
can we do anything about this?
No, we can't do anything about this. No.
So yeah, Tor, this is an example of what Tor's inner conflict is. And he says, my own feelings, however, are completely not normal in any way. I should not be flirting back with her or feeling all the fucking giddy stupid over this hat on my head, but I do, and I might never be taking this thing off.
So adorable.
It's so cute. So on Kenzie's last day of school, she needs a ride home because Chloe ditches her for a guy.
Yeah.
Typical.
Yeah. Chloe's not a great friend.
She's not a great friend. She kind of pulls through in some situations, but other situations, she's just like this typical
She's just very
teenager
selfish.
that's very selfish. Yeah. So she just, calls Tor and's like, hey, I need a ride because Tor is always reliable.
Exactly.
And so she goes with Tor to rescue a dog that's actually trapped on the highway. And it's like raining, like pouring. This scene.
Yes. Oh my
this
God.
Scene was my backup scene.
This is my first scene. I was like, no, I'm not going to go for my typical.
Tor almost like gets hit by a car because he's crossing multiple lanes of traffic to go get this dog. The dog runs into traffic and he like dives for it. He gets skinned knees and all that.
Yes.
And Kenzie gets out of the car and is crying on the side of the road. And whenever he finally like gets back to her, they're like really close to each other. He's like checking over the dog. And then whenever he looks up, they're right next to each other and like emotions are running high and he just grabs her and kisses her because whenever just like they're just so much
his adrenaline's pumping,
adrenaline's rushing, you're not really thinking and
she was scared and just like grabbing onto him. Are you okay? Is the dog okay? And then
it's just like whenever you survive and she's like, yes, I want to celebrate life. That's what happened.
I want to kiss this girl.
Fuck yes. And I love it. It's like it was like first like hungry and desperate and then it was like
so
he pulls back and he looks at her and then he does it again, but it was like softer and sweeter and I'm just like, I love you so much.
My God.
But anyway, the dog moves between them, the spell breaks and Tor's like, get in the car. What the fuck happened?
That never happened.
Yeah, he's like Kenzie, I can't talk about it because Kenzie's like ready to talk about it and he's like, I can't. Please go check on the dog.
Yes.
Yeah. He actually, and I love this too, he's thinking about he's trying to avoid Kenzie.
Right.
And he and Asher on Sundays, they go ride motorcycles every Sunday. And he actually thinks while he's with Asher that he wants to confess this to Asher because this is his best friend.
This is his best friend.
He does not want to betray his best friend. This is like a big point. He does not want to at all. He really wants to let him know what's happening.
Yeah.
And he just feels like he's betraying him for even having thoughts about his best friend's daughter. And the problem is Kenzie and Tor are already wound so tightly into each other's lives that it's almost impossible to put real distance between them, emotional or physical.
Right.
She's always at his house, cleaning for him, cooking him dinner. He's not a great cook.
Yeah.
She likes to cook. This has been going on since she was like, 16.
Very
to
young.
have some money. And he's like, yeah, come over.
He makes
do
a little
whatever.
extra money is just like, picking up his house and making some meals and stuff.
And sometimes he's not even there. Like she just goes there, does her thing, whatever.
Right.
So they're always just kind of running into each other.
So Tor ends up keeping the dog because he knows Kenzie fell in love with it after they rescued him. And of course, that's special meaning. Their first kiss was right over the head of this dog.
And the thing to note about Tor rescues animals all the time, and he has never adopted
He's
one.
never brought one home.
No.
This is his first
He always brings
one.
them to the shelter, and they always found foster families, but this time he was like, I'm keeping the dog.
And he even gets a little more domestic with it. He builds a pond in the backyard and, while they've been avoiding each other the past few weeks. But I just feel like him getting even more domestic just is a sign.
Right. And I think also because at Kenzie's house, at Asher's house, they have like this, waterfall element in the background, in the backyard, and Kenzie likes that. And so I think partly it was for Kenzie too. It was like,
I know exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking.
And he even has a jar of pennies next to the pond.
Exactly.
Like, for
well,
them.
hello.
So
who's the jar of pennies
this
for?
This is their pond.
This is their pond. He's built it.
Their wishing pond with koi fish.
If you build it, she will come, Tor.
Yes.
Build the pond. Put your jar of pennies there. Okay,
I'm already there.
I know. So Tor, Kenzie comes over. Her next wish with her penny. Her next wish is that he would kiss her again. I love that she's so bold. She
is. She's really pushing it forward. I think that if Kenzie had never talked about it again, nothing would ever happen. But the reason why something ends up by happening between them is because
she won't let it go.
For Kenzie, I guess it's like for her, she has less kind of to lose than like Tor.
Yes, because Tor could lose everything.
His business, everything. But Kenzie would still be loved if this was like found out. Like she wouldn't lose her dad. Doesn't have a business that she could lose. So I think that Kenzie has to be the aggressor in this relationship
I think that was a smart move for Carian Cole to do that too.
Right.
So, but of course, Tor shuts it down. It's like, look, it shouldn't have happened. It was a mistake. Can never happen again. And then, of course, this hurts Kenzie to hear that he feels sick when he thinks about it.
Yeah,
but
she's like, oh, I make you feel sick.
I know, but it's not that.
Hurts.
It's what he's doing. You know, he feels so much guilt. He cannot even process it. So she decides to spend the summer with her aunt just to get some time, think about things, whatever, and some distance.
Tor's like,
you should go. You should go to your aunt's house like now. And she always does spend some time there, but he's encouraging her to go sooner. Like,
I think she thought that since it was her last summer.
Right. She was going to stay home and spend some time with her dad before he went on tour and stuff like that.
With Tor.
And with Tor, because things are happening.
Yeah.
But he's like, please leave.
Yeah.
Tor takes a long ride on his motorcycle and makes a few discoveries.
I love how he's like, let's take a long ride. And obviously it's going to cure this obsession with Kenzie. But like it actually just makes it worse.
Clarifies. He just thinks about her over and over again. And what does he find? He finds this adorable abandoned kitten like out in this little field.
It's like in a taped up box, by the way.
Yeah, like some asshole had abandoned it. Ugh. So, and I love kittens. And so he takes the kitten and he stuffs it in his little motorcycle jacket and zips it up and it like curls up next to his cat. Yes, his motorcycle cat. Oh my God. Cute. That image right there was like, are you kidding me?
Ovaries exploding?
Definitely.
I don't even like cats, but I agree that it's like definitely a hot image.
I was all about that. So he does in this time admit to himself that he is falling in love with her, even though he knows it's going to cause all kinds of problems for them.
Yeah.
And he's in his head, he's like, of course, she's the only girl I can't have. Karma, you are one demented bitch. How the hell did this happen? I was like, oh, Tor, I so feel you there. And he observes that Kenzie is just like her dad. When she decides on something, that's it. You know, she won't waver. Which is why Asher and Ember have made it work through their teenage pregnancy, which is how they had Kenzie, and getting married so young.
Yeah, they had Kenzie extremely young,
like
at 15.
15, yeah.
And they got married at like 17 or 18, and they've been together ever since. So the devil comes back. Sydney comes back, wanting to be with Tor again. Like all of a sudden, she's like, hey, I'm back. Take me back.
Yeah.
And even though she is a cheating hoe who is panting after a married man, aka Asher, and she also screwed that man that she like is so obsessed with, his cousin, Vandal.
Yeah.
She slept with Vandal.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, so you're screwing Vandal. You want Asher, but you want to date his best friend again. Yeah. You're one fucked up individual. I don't like her.
She's a hoe bag. I don't like her.
I hope we never get a redemption story for her because I don't like her. Yeah. She also wants him to get rid of his animals that he just acquired, and if they get back together, because she has allergies. Obviously, they were never going to work anyway because Tor loves animals and Sydney has allergies. And obviously, I really hate Sydney. So let's move on. Tor's thinking that the main reason that he doesn't want to give Sydney another chance is because he really doesn't want her anymore. And he faces the cold, hard truth that the moment that he kissed Kenzie, she became the one. And he's like, maybe she just always was. Maybe that's just what always was happening. Mm-hmm. So Kenzie's aunt in Maine, who, by the way, is Ember's sister, older sister.
Oh my God, this is a good
surprises her with a photography shoot. And this is for her birthday. And Kenzie's like, hey, I was thinking like to do like some sexy pictures. And her aunt's like, yeah, I think that would be cool. And it's not like raunchy, crazy.
No.
Crazy. They're tasteful, sexy pictures. Yeah, she sends them to Tor. Tor's like, yeah, can't deny physically attracted. Yes, definitely physically attracted to her right now. And he thinks that he's going to burn in hell. Yeah, he's like, I'm going to burn in hell whenever she asks for clarification. Whenever he was like, yeah, the things... Because she's kind of insecure. She's like, she would never send these to anybody else.
No.
Ever. That is not Kenzie's personality. She's doing it completely because she knows she's in love with Tor.
That's what I think is so awesome about her, you know?
She would never send it. And he knows this about her. He knows that she's actually insecure because she got a lot of flack from that douchebag for not sleeping with him. It like spread around school and all that. So he was like, no, you're beautiful, you're sexy, the things that I would do. And then he just cuts off. And she was like, no, what would you do? And so Tor's like, I'm going to burn in hell, but I'm going to tell her. So he tells her all these fucking hot things they turn to be on because
I totally forgot about this part. It's
Tor is like a poet. He wrote a lot of songs for Ashes and Ember. So he has a romantic soul and he's getting me all hot and bothered. And you can tell like in this time whenever Kenzie is at her aunt's house, they've always said that they loved each other, you know? But now whenever they say I love you, like Kenzie even tells Toren like, do you know how much I love you? And he's like, hopefully as much as I love you. But they both know that these I love yous are meaning something different. It's like passionate love now.
Yes, it's become romantic love.
But he doesn't want to think about it that way. He's like, he's denying the truth. You can't handle the truth, Tor. So she tells Tor, this is the end of the summer. And she's like, Tor, coming back home soon. And coming after you, Mr. Grace. And he basically knows he's fucked. He's like, yep. He goes to Lucas's before she gets back, which Lucas is...
Can I just say right now, he is one of my absolute favorite Carian Cole characters.
Great. And he shows up in most of the Ashes and Embers books too. So he goes to Lucas to have a picture that Kenzie drew for him whenever she was little, tattooed on his chest. And it says, I love you the most. And Lucas absolutely knows what that means. And honestly, he isn't even surprised that their relationship took this turn. Now, I want to ask you a question. What did you think about Lucas's acceptance of a romantic relationship between Kenzie and Tor? Like, what did you think about it? Did you expect...
Oh, I knew Lucas was I knew his reaction was exactly what I thought his reaction would be. Lucas is another old soul. Remember, he's like 23 or 24 with an older woman, you know? And he's
like almost a therapist of the family. He just like, he's so rational.
He's so wise.
He's so wise.
He's so patient. He knows what to say. He knows how to be unbiased.
I actually really like that Carian had some people on their side.
Yes.
Like not have like everyone against them.
Are you kidding me? You know, that kind of reaction.
Exactly.
I was thinking the same thing. If he had nobody on his side, it would have really made me sad. But when Lucas rallied to his corner, even though he said, you know, this is like shit's going to hit the fan, dude. He's like, yeah,
like obviously your biggest obstacle is Asher.
Yeah.
And not going to say that that's going to be easy, but if you really want it, if you really love her, accept it in your head that you and Kenzie are right for each other, then nothing's going to stop you.
Right. It was awesome. I love that.
Fucking yeah.
Kenzie has turned 18. Her dad, threw her a birthday bonfire. Tor shows Kenzie the tattoo after she sees him and Sydney arguing like out front. Like Kenzie thinks that they're getting back together or something's going on, and she sees them in this sort of argument. So she storms off. He catches her in the house.
She didn't even want him to know that she was there. Yeah, but she kind of trips.
Yeah, she trips, and they hear her, and he sees her watching them.
Yeah, and so he kind of takes care of her knee, and he's just so cute. But then he's like,
let me show you my tattoo.
Let me take off my shirt. Yeah, you take off that shirt.
You take off that shirt.
God, he's so hot.
You just take it off.
Yeah, baby.
Kenzie kisses him, but feels a little insecure because she's inexperienced, and so she's got this Sydney in her head, she's kind of wrapped up in that.
There's this like famous rock star chick that's all over you. You've dated her before. She has experience. She's like this gorgeous body, and how do I compare to that?
And I'm this 18-year-old girl
who doesn't have any experience, and I don't even know what to do. And so she almost feels like he's kind of disappointed that her kiss wasn't like crazy, passionate or anything. She was very hesitant.
They leave, and when they part, she has all these sort of doubts in her head.
But I like how it wasn't even a thing. No. I like how it was like Tor texted her the next day and was just like, hey, you want to come on a ride?
Yes. So he's going to take her. He takes her on a ride, which he normally doesn't do with girls. He doesn't put anybody on the back of his bike.
It's a sacred spot.
Yes.
Reserved for
Kenzie.
One.
For Kenzie. And I love that we get a glimpse of them riding together in Talon's book. That's where I was like.
Okay, Asia was like, yeah, the girlfriend, boyfriend, and Talon's like, no, that's like practically family.
Yeah,
and
Tor's
she was like
his uncle.
She's like,
I know. Asia's like, oh, if you say so.
Yeah, you're wrong, but if you say so, honey.
I love that she caught on, and Talon even was like blind,
priming.
So he is tired of denying it, but he's also afraid of wanting so much from a woman so young.
Which is understandable, and I like that.
Absolutely. And of course, Kenzie doesn't doubt this is it for her. I did like when they went on their ride, and the woman they stopped to eat ice cream or something.
And they were laughing because she had like triplets, and they were all trying to eat ice cream.
Yes,
and
she's trying to
made a mess.
Yeah, and so she's trying to feed them. So they're sitting there watching the mother with the babies and laughing. And she's like, oh, you just wait till you two have your own. And they both kind of looked at each other, and it was just this moment where a stranger didn't see anything wrong with them being together. They didn't look.
Tor kind of has this insecurity too. Like, do I look too old for her?
Do I look like an old man?
Do I look like her dad?
Do I look like her dad? Like, what the hell? So I just really thought that was a sweet moment.
Like I said, it's the small moments that really make a book. So
I agree. Kenzie's feeling a lot bolder when they return to his house.
Yeah, she is. Point of no return.
Holy moly.
I like how she does have confidence.
Yeah.
Like, she just like, I tapped into this inner, goddess in me, and I'm just like, fuck yes, I want you.
Yes. So Kenzie and Tor have sex, even though he begs her to make him stop.
Yeah, he's like, please tell me to stop because I can't.
If you tell me to stop, I'll stop. And she's like, no. They cross the final line. They are officially official.
Yeah.
Tor wants to tell Ash, but
I love this.
He's again torn with not guilt, but guilt. Like he's not regretting.
He wants it to be out in the open. He does not want to hide this from Ash.
He doesn't want this to be a secret anymore.
He knows that if they're going to have a relationship, it's going to have to be in the open. Exactly. So he's like, let's get it over with.
Let's just do this.
I don't want to hide it because I do love you and we need to tell your dad because it's going to be hard no matter what.
Right. But Kenzie is afraid because he's about to go on this mini tour. He's like, just wait another month till he's done with this small tour he's got.
And this is really telling because she does not want her dad to be in emotional distress.
Right.
This is mostly because she does not want her dad to be in emotional stress.
While he's on this
because
tour.
He's been in like a good, decent mood, hasn't been
worried too much about
Ember,
her mom.
So this is very, very telling.
Yeah, and so Tor's like, okay, but that's it. Yeah. As soon as this is done,
we're gonna do it. We're gonna tell them together.
Yeah. So Kenzie and Tor have already fallen into a comfortable routine that takes most couples a long time to develop because they're so close and they are so compatible. Oh my God, they're so compatible.
They really are. They're made for each other.
Like the dog and the cat, they have their little family.
They go on walks. She cooks for him.
Yes, she cooks for him.
They have their TV shows that they watch together. Like they're already settled into a routine.
Yes. And so here's a really cool thing too. Kenzie asks at some point, she sees this ginormous, it's like a one of those big water bottle
like a change
things.
Bottle where people just put like extra loose change in there to just collect, and then one day you go cash it in and see how much you have.
She saw it in the windowsill, but it was like even too heavy for her to move to dust around. She's like, what's this for? And he's like, well, it's a family tradition.
Yeah, this is like one of the flashback scenes that happen that they explain this.
Yes, that it's a family tradition that it's passed down, and basically when I find the one, I'll empty it out and I'll go buy the engagement ring for his intended. And so Tor finally goes and cashes in the change that he's been saving according to his family tradition for a long time because he's that serious about Kenzie.
He knows this is it.
She's it.
This is the one. Kenzie gets the call from her dad that Tor was hit by a car on his motorcycle. Yeah. So dangerous. I was like, my heart was dying. God, I was like, please don't let him be seriously injured. Well, when she gets to the hospital, it's to see Sydney by his unconscious body, crying, making a scene, holding his hands. And I'm like, get the fuck away from her, man. Sydney. Fuck off. So Ash doesn't understand why Kenzie's so upset that Sydney's there because she's like, they're not even together. And Ash is like, well, they have a history.
Yeah, like, she's like in the hallway, like fuming.
Yeah, she's like, fuck this. She needs to leave.
And Asher's like, why are you so upset?
And
then, like they've
and Kenzie's like, okay, gotta calm down before it looks crazy.
Yeah, my dad figures some shit out.
So she's like, I'm gonna stay here in hospitals. She didn't even like hospitals because of her mom. Right. And she's like, well, I'm gonna stay here and wait until there's not so many people in the room. So Ash leaves. And then Tesla, Tor's sister, comes and tells Kenzie that she's really lucky that Tesla got to Tor's phone before Sydney could get it and ask questions because she's a nosy biatch and she would have gone through all the text messages
and stuff. Yeah.
She even has a conversation with Kenzie and she's like, I can't even imagine committing to someone forever with like my age. Like that doesn't seem like, are you sure? She's really not trying to be a bitch. She really just can't imagine at her point in life committing to someone. But Kenzie's like, but I'm not you. And it's so true. Not everybody is ready to settle down that young.
It's true.
Some people are.
Okay, so I had wanted to even kind of, because I was thinking about this. You and I had talked about the age thing this whole time when we were when I was reading this. And I was like, my God, she's so young. And I was like, well, wait a second. Kevin and I started dating when I was 19 and he was 20 and we've been together ever since. Like that was it. You know? So I agree. Like, you don't know. Whenever you find that one, that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's just sometimes you find someone very early on in life. I know somebody who they've been dating since 7th grade, and now they're in their mid-30s and they're married and they have 2 kids. They've just never dated anybody else.
Yeah.
It just
There's
happens
no
for
need.
some people.
Exactly.
For some people, not all people.
Right.
But yeah, she's an old soul, and her life experiences shaped her in the way that she's emotionally supporting her father since her mother's accident. That really has an effect on her. So Kenzie's been sleeping at Tor's while he's been at the hospital. She's taking care of Kitten and DOG. Please note this. Funny aside, I'm a speed reader. I read lightning fast, and sometimes I'll miss like a little something, and sometimes I'll just like read a word and I'm not reading it correctly. Well, the name of the dog is spelled Diogee, and I was just like in my head, I'm like, Diego. I'm like, let's just assign the dog. Like, is it important that I know the dog's name? Not really. I'm like, Diego. Well, it took me, and I've read this book quite a bit. Like, I've reread this book, and then I finally figured out that the damn dog's name is DOG because it's D-O. He literally named the dog, and it took me a long time to figure that out because I'm a speed reader. That was just a little extra for you guys.
Yes. There's Kitten and Dog.
Kitten and Dog. Tor. So creative. So Sydney drops off Tor, and she thinks they're getting back together. And she even saw the ring with his stuff at the hospital.
Yes, because she went through his stuff and found the hospital
she's
ring
a
in his...
nosy fucking bitch, okay?
She is.
And
She thinks it's for him.
he tells her, there's no chance. And the ring isn't for her. Like, that's not yours. And she's like, what the fuck?
do you
Like,
mean?
it hasn't even been this long. Like, you already found someone that you're ready to marry?
Are you kidding me?
And yeah, he's like, yeah, I fall in love with somebody else, and it's not you. And she's mad, and she just goes away. See, I felt like Carian could have also brought Sydney back and like made a big deal about it, but I'm glad she didn't, because we didn't need that extra drama. We did not need that.
I agree. I was expecting that to happen, and I'm glad. Me too.
Me too, because we don't need the extra drama. This is already drama enough, okay?
There's a whole lot of drama coming.
Ash is the only drama we need.
Yes, agree.
That's it.
And I can tell you that I had been, the closer it got, the more scared I became.
Yeah.
And it did not disappoint.
Nope. So after weeks of recovery, where Kenzie has been over every day to hang out with Tor and take care of him, he's finally feeling well enough to get down and dirty, baby. They actually have a realistic sex scene in the shower. And because I'm very picky about my shower sex scenes, I'm like, look, sometimes it's really difficult. And y'all make it seem like it's so easy to just have sex in the shower. It's really not. But they have some really cool scenes in there. I don't mind their shower sex.
It's like hot shower sex scene.
Yeah, baby.
It's really good.
So I really love this kind of them just being so comfortable around each other. He's playing his guitar in bed while Kenzie's just lounging in his lap. And she's even glad, she says, she's glad that he's been playing once again. Since it's always been kind of a bitter pill to swallow that he could have made it big and been as financially successful as Ash, because he's kind of been hampered down by taking care of his dad's business. It was kind of a money pit, and he had to invest a lot of stuff. Even Ash had to help him out. And Ash and all the band members are like super financially successful, and that could have been Tor, but he had responsibilities. He had to take care of his family. And so but now music seems to be like another outlet for him once again.
Yes. And I love
because
that.
Of Kenzie.
That was the one thing that really made me so sad, like I said in the beginning, that he had to lose that creative outlet because, I mean, I would be crushed, you know?
And he says, and Kenzie says, it seems like it's become a therapeutic once again.
Yes. It's awesome.
Here's a little part that creates a little bit more drama. She asks, she's like, well, where's that song come from? The one that you wrote like for the first album. I know you wrote this album, because she wants to know, because it's a song about a love that never came to be. And she's like, well, who else did you date? Yeah, who else did you date? Because really it's only been like Sydney and Lisa. And he was like, do you really want to know? He's like, it's kind of about your mom. And he tells the story about how he kind of saw Ember first.
Yeah.
Like the first day she was new.
Yeah.
And they just went to the park together. They're like 14, okay, guys?
Yeah.
They went to the park together.
That's just pretty girl. And then
Asher and Tor are already friends. Asher comes meet them. But as soon as Asher and Ember see each other, it's like, that's it.
Yeah.
And so Tor and Ember were never a thing. He had a 14-year-old, she's a cute girl, crush on her.
Yes.
And it never went anywhere.
Yep.
But understandably, it throws Kenzie for a loop.
Like my mom?
Yeah. I understand why she's like,
that too.
what? Has there anything ever been going on between you
Yeah.
two? She's just worried that she's a consolation prize.
Yeah, because she remembers how close they were growing up, and she's like, was that more than just friends?
And he's like, no, we're just all best friends, I swear.
Yeah.
But understandably,
But she's upset.
Yeah, she wants space. She's like, look, we are fine. Just give me the night. I'm just going to go home. It's almost time for me to go home anyway. And I'll talk to you in the morning. It's going to be fine, but please, I just need my space.
Right.
So she goes home and she thinks about her mom's diary is still in the nightstand like it's always been for the past 4 years. She's like, well, I'm just going to pick the lock because I just want to make sure.
I just need to know.
And Asher comes in.
Oh, God.
My
heart just started beating fast just thinking about it.
Hitting the fan.
So Asher finds Kenzie with a diary. Okay, before she can even read it. And he gets obviously upset. He's like, what are you doing? This is an invasion of privacy. He gets really upset and he wants to know what she thinks she's doing. And Kenzie, just not thinking, was just like, I just want to know about the argument you had the morning of Mom's accident.
Yeah.
Okay. And of course, there's the argument was about something about she was siding with Tor. Yeah, Tor always understands. So there was something going on.
Kenzie just kind of remembered that, how like in your 14-year-old mind, it's like, oh, that conversation that really didn't mean anything until this context is applied to it.
Right.
I kind of want to know more. Like, what did she understand? But Asher did explain what it's about. It has a reasonable explanation.
He's like, Asher says that Ember wanted them both to quit the band and the touring to stay home and focus on Kenzie and maybe have another baby, like build their family, But Ash wasn't ready to quit. And Ember was more like Kenzie in that regard, that maternal instinct, wanting to stay home and just build a family home.
Yeah,
right?
and Tor understood that aspect of wanting to be settled.
But in this conversation, because it's kind of focused around Tor, he's been noticing that Kenzie has been acting weird lately about Asher. About
Tor. Why would you even go to your, what brought this on? Why would you even go to your mom's diary?
And things are just starting to click for him. He definitely doesn't believe her excuse that it's just about post-graduation confusion. She's like, I'm just confused. I need to, I don't know. I want to be close to my mom. I don't know. Stop talking. Stop looking at me, Dad. Stop figuring shit out.
She's like, okay, I'm going to go in my room
now. So she kind of basically runs away and he's like, but Asher follows. No. He's like, he starts putting some things together that he hasn't really noticed because he's been so focused on Ember possibly pulling out of the coma and things like that. So Ash asks where she's been because it's 1 a.m. He's suddenly like, where have you been? Because she's getting back so late. And Chloe is in New York.
Yeah.
Okay?
So she doesn't have that excuse.
Yeah. The only friend, she can't say, oh, I was at Chloe's.
Yeah. She's limited on her alibis.
So she says she was at Tor's watching TV.
Which is normal.
Yes.
Like her staying late at Tor's is completely normal. Yes. And she's like, this is safe response.
Yes.
Until it's not.
Asher had texted Tor earlier that day to hang out. And Tor said he was spending the night hanging out with a chick.
Yeah.
And
so a romantic night with a chick.
And he's wait, what?
But you were over there. Tor said he had company. And she was like, well, yeah, but good night, Dad.
Can you leave now? I need to get in bed. This part was so intense. My heart was pounding out of my chest.
She could see the change in Asher's face.
Yes,
he's
it's dawning on him.
Don't tell me.
And he's like, that
something's been going on. And he just gets confirmation.
Yes, because Kenzie tries to backpedal really fast. And then, of course, that's when the text goes off from Tor. At that very moment, he grabs the phone before she can get to it. While she's like, Dad, don't. And then he reads, I love you, Angel. I can't stand the way you left tonight. Please call me anytime tonight. I don't care. I just want to hear your voice. Holy fucking shit. Oh my God. This moment was so intense.
Blows up.
Oh my God.
And I think it's very telling too because Kenzie says, I've never seen my dad like that. He does not have a temper. He's always the voice of reason. He's the peacemaker. And this is another side of my dad. I've never seen him act like that.
He loses it. But it is exactly what you would expect of a father finding out that his 18-year-old daughter and his 32-year-old best friend are having an affair. And it's so cold. Yeah. And there's so much hate laced in every word. She's terrified. She's shaking. She's like, Dad. Yeah. But he's not even listening. He's he's like, I'm going to fucking kill him. I am going to fucking
He's like,
kill
I'm
him.
going to murder him.
He won't listen to Kenzie's explanations. He's just completely out of it.
Yeah,
Liz's not listening.
He's like, love. He's like, you don't even know what
He's
the
like,
fuck
you don't
love
even
is.
know what love is. She's like, we're in love, and it sounds so trivial. We're in love, Dad.
Yeah, exactly. Like, of course you are. You little child.
Yeah. So Kenzie even tries to compare his and Ember's relationship with Asher and insists that Kenzie is too young to know what real love is.
Which you or Juliet was like on text message, and she was like, Asher just like dismissing that he and Ember, found each other at a young age. And it's true.
Yeah.
It's like you can see both sides because it's like, don't be a hypocrite. You had a kid at 15.
Exactly.
And
they were it for each other at 15.
That's it. Like they are actual soulmates. Like, and yeah, so, but still, he's dad mode. He's in dad mode. No. I mean, that's instant gut reaction. It's God. Like, nobody touches my baby.
Oh my God.
No sick man touches my baby.
Yeah.
And that's how it is. So Kenzie, he's like, I'm going to see him right the fuck now, and I'm going to murder him.
You stay here.
And he's like, don't you dare tell him. Well, stupidly, he doesn't take her phone. So, of course, she warns
what do you
Tor.
think? Exactly.
She calls Tor crying. She's like, my dad knows. He is on the way there. And he's like, fuck. He's like, it's okay. I swear, we're just going to talk. It's going to be fine, Kenzie.
Yeah,
I love
even
you.
Though he knows shit's
he's
coming
like,
down.
Okay, he's here. I will talk to you later.
I just heard his truck. Bye.
And he even says, he's like, look, I didn't even wait for him to knock. I just opened the door.
Yes.
And Tor is greeted with a fist to his face.
Yes.
So Asher really shows no mercy. He punches him multiple times, and Tor doesn't blame Asher and really kind of lets him.
Yeah.
But when Asher starts making wild accusations and also insulting Tor's brother, and that's a whole nother story we're not going to get into, Tor punches back and he tells Ash to back off. Like, he kind of strangles Ash a little bit.
Yeah.
But very intense and very sad to see these best friends since they were little falling out. And Asher tells Tor that he's dead to him and walks out. He's like, fuck
so
no.
sad.
He does not accept it at all. He's like, you're never going to see her again. And yeah, Kenzie's really upset to see how Tor and Asher beat on each other, and she feels like she's tearing everything apart. So she calls Chloe, her friend, to tell her what's been happening these past few months. And Chloe does show a little bit of maturity in this conversation, which I can forgive her previous immaturity, because Chloe suggests that Kenzie needs to get away from both Tor and Ash. She's like, look, go to your aunt's house. She's been saying, go live with me. I really think you need time because you've been this emotional support for your dad. You need to focus on you.
Yeah, you need to go be yourself.
You're so worried about your dad. You're so worried about Tor. Please go worry about you. So it's true because Kenzie has such a nurturing personality that she does need space to think about herself. So she does think that Chloe's advice is good to go accept her aunt's offer. First, before she goes tell Tor of her plans, she visits her mom in the hospital and she unloads all of it to her unconscious mom about what's been going on. And she even feels her mom squeeze her hand because her dad's been like excitedly saying like, oh, she's been showing movement.
Showing some signs, right.
And so this is the first time that Kenzie has hope that her mom might actually begin to wake up in the near future. Then Kenzie goes visit Tor and tells of her plans. And even though he feels like he's losing her, like his internal thoughts are so heartbreaking in the scene. It's crazy.
It killed.
It does. But he tells her that it is a good idea for her to go to her aunt's house. But inside, he's silently begging her to come back to him. And I'm just like,
it's so painful. But I mean, this is the part where I think their age difference shows up because he's mature. He's had, he's had 32 years on this life, enough to like see life and experience life and everything, but she hasn't, and so she needs a little bit of independence time, you know?
But he's willing to wait for her. He's
absolutely.
Like, no problem.
I will wait for you.
I will be here.
I'll be here when you get return, like God. Right here.
I fucking love him. Why?
He's amazing.
I want him. He's a unicorn.
He is a unicorn.
He's this buff, tattooed animal rescuing
MC, charity working.
God, why? Plays
tattooed,
a guitar.
Plays guitar, writes letters, love letters.
He's a poet and he doesn't know it.
And apparently so are you.
Anyway.
All right. So Kenzie spends a year in Maine with her aunt, and she and Tor limit their communication to handwritten letters, which is so lovely.
I love that.
I do too.
Just such a small little touch.
I love it.
In there.
I love it. Absolutely wonderful. It brings them closer together because they're just communicating and through the handwritten letters. And it does make you choose your words carefully.
Yeah, she says there's no backspace.
There's a lot of thought
that
goes into that.
You're a little bit slower with what words you choose.
I love that.
Me too.
Okay, here's a quote from Kenzie. He writes me poetry. We fall deeper in love. The space didn't create distance. It brought us closer together. And I love that. Because you've got Tor writing you love letters.
Yes.
God, Kenzie.
You're so lucky.
It wouldn't just be any man. So Asher has driven up there a few times to see her. Sometimes it ends in arguments. Other times we feel like there's progress and hope.
Yeah, Kenzie's like, we might be getting somewhere.
Yes. And Kenzie has the advantage of having a few people that accept her and Tor's feelings for each other, including her grandmother, who is a romance novelist. I love how
her. She's great.
Best.
You do see her in Talon's book.
Yes. She's awesome.
Yeah, she's adorable.
Well, romance novelists, we're a little bit more open-minded.
Yeah. She's like fascinated with her story. Yes. She's like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's awesome. I know. Tell me about this love story. I might write a book.
Yeah. Kenzie's like, I wouldn't be surprised if our story showed up as a character's, story.
Yeah. And this was one of the sweetest things he did. He sends Kenzie a message in a bottle. There was an earlier scene where Kenzie thought she found one on the beach and they had a whole conversation about what she just thought how cool that would be to find a message in a bottle and what it would be in there. And so when she gets that message in a bottle, she knows it's time to go home. Asher visits Tor after almost a year of silence between them and says that he's finally ready to accept that maybe their feelings for each other are the real deal. So what's interesting is Tor bumps into Kenzie as she is coming out of the store in town. And it's just like how he imagined they would have met if they were strangers. He has this conversation. And he's like, if I just met her when we were strangers, then there would be no problem with our relationship. And then he didn't know she was back in town and they just bump into each other. It was really kind of cool. That sort of re-meeting. And of course they had, they have a reconnection kiss immediately. Of course you wouldn't kiss a stranger on the street, but
no.
But she says she's just gotten back home. She was waiting to kind of, get acclimated and get into her apartment.
Like, look, I moved out of my dad's house because I wanted to reconnect whenever I'm not living in my dad's house. Right. It would feel weird if I would go at night, go meet you, and then have to come back home and he would know I was there. Like, obviously it's awkward.
Yeah.
So like,
I think, but it was kind of funny because Tor was like nervous little boy. He's like, why didn't I see you?
You want to go on a date tonight? Is tonight soon?
How's
too
now?
soon?
No. Can we just walk over?
But it's cute. Like, she's ready. She just was like, I just wanted to make sure my dad was okay first. Like, I wanted to make sure he was okay. Yeah. And all that. And then
very mature.
It's very mature. And then we get the epilogue. Kenzie is now 22 and Tor is 37. And they have been married for about a year. And they now have a baby girl, Tia. She's so cute.
So cute.
Ember is apparently out of the coma. But she has issues with her memory. And the one time she has met Kenzie's baby daughter, Ember thought that the baby was hers and cried when Kenzie took her away.
I know, it's so
like, she thinks that's Kenzie, and it's so fucking sad. And like, Kenzie can't call her mom. Like, there's this whole issue. So it's like the epilogue is half HEA for Kenzie and Tor, letting you know that they're okay. Some years have passed and they got married and they started their family, but it's also a teaser for Asher's book, which will hopefully be published sometime this year, maybe, fingers crossed.
No, I'm ready for that one.
But it's fine. Take your time. Write a good story.
I know. Buddy read. That's going to be a buddy read, Jess.
Oh, it's going to be so fun. So I thought this was super interesting that on the way to record this podcast, and we were supposed to record this podcast last week. Yeah. Carian Cole posted in her fan page something interesting about Turin because she wanted to know, like, she was just like, hey, Turin just has consistently been my best-selling book, so I want to know what you liked about it. But she also, this was very interesting, and she said that this has always been a surprise that this is her best-selling book. And she says, I wrote the last few chapters of Turin while going through like a rough patch, and I know that the last few chapters seemed rushed, and I thought for sure that alone would really affect the performance of the book overall, but thankfully it hasn't. And a small percentage of readers mention it in reviews, and I don't blame them. I would love to rewrite those chapters and give them more depth, but since it's audio, that's very difficult. I thought that was interesting because whenever Juliet was reading for the first time, she was like, that's it. She's like, that is it. She's like, I want him to have just like more closure, just more. She wanted Tor to just have more.
Yeah, I wanted Tor to get more.
Interesting because I'm like, now that you mentioned that, I'm like, Juliet was just kind of like,
Yeah, this is still a 5-star read for me, but I was a little, not disappointed, but I guess it was just a little disappointed in that ending because I wanted more for Tor in that final
I'm a person
bit.
though too, like once somebody gets like their HEA, I kind of want to see them in the HEA a little bit. And look, epilogues are great, but I kind of wanted to like maybe see them go on a date, maybe go hang out at Kenzie's grandmother's for Christmas or something and just see like them like, you know, sitting together with the family and like everybody being okay with it.
Yeah. And I absolutely want to see that. And I felt like in the final couple of chapters, we see a lot of Tor's love for her, but I wanted to see her love for
be in
Tor.
Kenzie's point of view and see, because we are in Tor's point of view at that point. But I agree. We could have used like just one more chapter.
But that's
just
really
for,
interesting. I did not know that.
I know. I thought you would find that interesting.
That is
and I was
weird.
Like,
tonight of all nights, you see that post.
Carian Cole, fate. What is going on?
I know.
It's crazy. So yeah, I just wanted to let our listeners know that in the Ashes and Embers bundle on Amazon ebook, which is also available on KU for the KU subscribers, you get a teaser chapter for Asher's book.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to give out the details to what happens in that.
It's good, guys.
But it's really good. It's like all 4 books of the Ashes and Embers series.
Yeah, that's how I read it.
And you can just breeze through all of that. And then at the end, they give a teaser, which chronologically definitely should be read after Torn.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just going to say that I'm really excited about this book.
Yes. We'll be doing a buddy read.
Yeah, even though I know it's going to be a rough ride because, you know, Ember doesn't have her memory totally. We don't know where she's at.
Well, you know, I already had a meltdown about it.
She did.
I was like, I'm not going to read it.
Okay,
Jessen, you're going to read
one
it.
One thing to know about Juliet. She's an extremely emotional reader. She gets up in her feels hard. And I have to talk her off the ledge. I'm like, it's fine. It's okay. It's going to be okay.
No, I have issues.
I'm like, Juliet, you know, I only recommend romances, so it's going to end in an HEA.
Like, I know,
you
but
worry
I'm just like,
too much.
Oh my God. He's not going to love her enough. What's going to happen? I do have an issue.
We are super excited about it. We cannot wait to read it. And hopefully that'll be on our podcast list for later. So guys, we hope that you enjoyed today's episode and we look forward to the next one where we'll be reviewing The Opposite of You by Rachel Higginson.
Excited.
Thanks so much for listening.
This goes out to all the fangirls.
Life's better with a little HEA.